Hey, I'm Taylor Hirschfield, and this is The Core of It, a series by Terra Collective. My goal in founding Terra Collective is to make holistic approaches to mind, body, and spirit health more accessible. In each episode of The Core of It, we'll explore a different healing modality, and I invite you to listen in and experience the practices alongside me. We move beyond symptoms to explore root causes and what it means to approach health as an interconnected whole. Welcome to The Core of It. So I am super excited to have Lisa Thaens here with me for a very special edition episode of The Core of It. And in this episode, we're going to be showcasing a real story of how holistic intervention and ways of being can actually manage a chronic diagnosis. A story of how being in touch with what's happening in your own body can sometimes be more powerful than taking a pill every day. But before we get into that story, I'd love to invite you, Lisa, to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are. And I guess also, you can probably see we're not in the usual location of The Core of It, which is usually happening inside in Berlin for the most part. We are sitting outside in nature on the Pacific coast of Colombia in a beautiful place called Choco, at a beautiful eco hotel owned by a dear friend called Buzul. So that explains the background change and sets the scene for this special edition of The Core of It. But back to you, Lisa.
So, hi Taylor. I'm feeling very special to sit here because I'm not a practitioner in this sense, but I think I see a huge potential and value in what you're creating, especially because I would have needed it very much, or still need it, I will say. Who am I? I'm Lisa, ever been 35 years old. I'm an experienced designer, so I work at the intersection of human emotion, of gatherings, of creating journeys, of creating moments that hopefully stay forever, and to create more cuteness instead of coolness, and to bring more cuteness and more connection into impressive looking things. Yeah, this is kind of where I sit.
Beautiful.
Yes.
And I have the pleasure of having experienced many a gathering you've created. Knowing you, I would have never guessed your history, experiencing many different confusing chronic health issues and then a very scary diagnosis. This is not something that you wear. I want to make a disclaimer also before getting into your story that what we're sharing in this episode is a personal lived experience. It's not medical advice, and everyone's path is unique. And now that we've made that disclaimer, you have a super unique story and relationship to holistic approaches to your health. When did this story start? Let's go back to the beginning, whatever the beginning means to you.
It feels a little bit shy and vulnerable because honestly, as you said, most of the people don't know that I'm diagnosed with this diagnosis. And it's, I think, the first time I'm ever publicly talking about it because I never really wanted to identify myself with a disease.
Yeah.
So most of the people don't know that I have this, or I have been diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis. And this happened 8 years ago. I don't know, it might start a little bit before, because what I've been used to since I'm a little girl is kind of going over my own boundaries. I used to be a professional athlete. I learned to always do a lot and always do a little bit more than my body maybe is able to hold. In sports, but later also my professional life, in my studies. Then I founded this startup in 2014, so almost 12 years ago. And we were all in, like we were running. But at one point, because of also some personal changes in my personal life, my body showed me signals, which I don't like to go to doctors anyways. It's just not my jam. I intuitively never like to go to doctors. And at one point, my face was numb. And I was like, okay, I know it's stress. Like, I always see this connection directly. I know my body reacts on stress levels. But this time I was a little different because it was 3 months. My right side of my face was numb.
So we're back in 2014 now, and you started experiencing this confusing sensation where one half of your face started to be numb.
Exactly. It was a few years after the foundation. It was like 2017, 3 years after.
Okay.
And at one point my face started to be numb for 3 months. And I kind of, I was like, all right, this will go away. As soon as I have less stress, this will pass. This too will pass. And it did eventually. So I was worry-free again. I was like, oh, perfect, gone. So I continued my life of a lot of work and more things. But then a year later, my whole right side of the body started to be numb, which really was a very awkward feeling. And I don't know if you know this, but I knew I had to go to the doctor because I couldn't find out what it is. And I was starting to fall down during the day. So it was nothing that I could just put under the carpet and was like, oh, my face is numb, yeah, don't worry. No, I fell down while working or walking, which was ridiculously awkward. Also because people saw this and it was like, I never want to be the center of attention, especially not people worrying about me. So I was like, I have to go to the doctor. But in Berlin, trying to get a doctor's appointment at a neurologist is impossible, basically. Like nobody takes a new patient, and waiting for an appointment takes 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 months. But it was something that was very active in the moment, and I really didn't know what to do. And I started falling down, and my body felt all wrong and everything. I went to the hospital. I waited 10 hours. Nobody took me, and I was so frustrated. I was like, guys, there's something really happening in my body, and nobody can tell what it is. So I had to call an ambulance because going me to the to the hospital, I was not taken care of, even after 10 hours. So I said, yeah, okay, I have to call the ambulance. And they took me to the hospital. I anyways had to wait 10 hours, but at least I was inside. And then they started a lot of tests, and they realized I had a lot of scars in my brain already. And it started in the first cell destruction in my spinal area. That's why I fell down.
Okay.
So what they did, of course, they pumped me full of cortisone. I had a full-on everyday cortisone pumped in my body.
Wow.
Until 5 days later, I was released like a balloon from the hospital. And they said, okay, girl, you got this now. Let's start treatment.
Wow.
Daily treatment. It's irreversible. You got this chronic disease from now on forever.
So at that point, when you were in the hospital, from the point where the ambulance picked you up, that was the point where they gave you the diagnosis?
It took 2 days of testing.
Okay.
They didn't know directly. I went to all the tests, but in the MRI, they found then the scars in my brain, and then they were like, hey girl,
and then they told you have this autoimmune disease, this is forever. Now here starts your path.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on the one hand side, I was really lucky happy to receive a diagnosis. It's so hard for me to say this word, diagnosis. Because I knew, okay, I'm not crazy. Like there was really something off in my whole system.
Yeah.
But honestly, I was surprised how easy I took it. Like in this moment, I was still in the hospital. I craved a cigarette. I went down in the garden. I smoked the cigarette, which is very rare. Everyone looked at me like, "What's wrong with this girl?" But I don't know. I was like, "That's what I do." And after the cigarette, I was like, "Okay, I have it now. Perfect. Let's go.
Okay,
I can deal with it."
Yeah.
And that was it. I think my whole surrounding was so much more scared than I was. But I was relieved. Like I'm not crazy. That was good. And then the doctors, they didn't make me much hope. They just said, "Okay, you have to take medicine now for the rest of your life and just hope that you can walk forever." Because one thing that happens is people ending up in wheelchairs because the spinal nerves are, I don't know, destroyed, the cells. And there I was. I went home, and the most ridiculous part of this whole is I opened my letterbox, and there was a magazine from the hospital, #rollt bei mir. I don't know if the German speakers can understand. It's like, it rolls with me. And there was a woman in a wheelchair on the magazine cover.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God, like, what? Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm a resilient person, and I started directly treatment, of course, because this is what everyone told me. And the treatment was every second day injections in my body.
Wow.
That I had to give myself. And the way I understood it is because in MS, I mean, it's called the disease of 1,000 faces. So everyone experiences different things. But the core idea is my cells, instead of helping each other, they hurt each other and they eat themselves and they destroy themselves, which is just the thing. And what I was injecting myself every second day in my belly, on my legs, was the way I understood it. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. The way I understood it is I'm injecting kind of a flu into my system so that the cells are the whole time distracted getting the flu off my system instead of eating themselves. And this is kind of the thing.
Wow.
All lifelong. So I was actually also on a travel to South America, and I had to take my little fridge bag with all my injections, and I was at the beach, and I was like, okay, no, cannot. Like after I think 6 months, my body completely screamed no. Like I had black spots and heart, I don't know, when you inject everything, and my body just said no. So I said, no, I cannot do it. I stopped it directly. I didn't inject anymore. But my partner at this time was very, very scared. Like I wanted to just go with it, because the sickness comes in, I don't know, in waves. It's not an ongoing thing, it's a wave. Then you treat it. You can be without a wave for years or months. It's kind of a wave kind of thing. But then my partner was like, no, you have to take medicine. You have to. So we went again to the doctors, and the doctors told me, okay, you don't have to take the injections, but we can give you something new. 2 huge pills every day. And I was like, oh, that sounds, I'm not a grandma, you know. Again, I tried. I took them pills 2 times per day. But it didn't feel right. Like I'm also not taking anti-baby pills. So imagine every 2 days a huge pill, which is not a vitamin, but a huge, severe drug. Plus it had the awkward effects. Like I got those heat and red flushes. But it was not timed. Like it was not, okay, 10 minutes after you take the pill, you get the red flush. It was like, you take the pill and any time during your day, you will get a red flush. And I had a job. I had to have presentations. I had meetings. I had stakeholder reunions. And sometime during that time, I went completely red, and I had to explain myself, which I don't want to do. I don't want to. It feels awkward. I remember I had one big sponsor for a project of mine, and I had a presentation to tell him where's the project at. And I completely got red. And the whole meeting was then focused on me being red, because it's not a little red. It's like flush tomato red of the whole body.
Wow.
And this was the second moment I said, I cannot live like this. It's completely against the way I live and the way I act. And then I said, stop. My whole body said no. And this time was so much stronger than any person in my surrounding telling me, no, you have to keep medicine. I stopped. Like this kind of what happened, basically. At the same time, I realized, okay, this is probably not my way, because it doesn't feel right. Yet I do have a thing I have to somehow think about, so it became, I have to change my life. Like this thought came now, and life is magic. Maybe you have experienced it. And somebody told me about this 10 days meditation silent retreat. And it just got in my head, and I registered before I was diagnosed, and then the time came to do it. And this was a beautiful moment, actually, because I stopped taking the medicine. I went full of trust to this retreat, which kind of changed my life also in a way. Like really this pure connection to myself and my feelings and sensations made me realize, okay, I have to just live differently and try to keep the waves in calm waters. You know what I mean? And this is what I've been doing since 8 years, and I didn't have a wave anymore. Like, it's since my last wave, it's almost 7 years ago, but it changed my life, and now I'm feeling pretty good, I must say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for vulnerably sharing your story. I know it's not something that you often share with many people, and I think it's such a powerful story, and I'm really grateful for your trust in sharing it with a wider audience. And one of the things about your story that feels so powerful to me is the deep knowing, this intuitive knowing that you felt, despite the fact that experts, doctors, the people who know the science are telling you, this is a chronic degenerative condition. If you don't take medicine, you will end up in a wheelchair. Yet you had this internal knowing in you that injecting yourself with this medicine every day was not the way you're going to live your life. Taking these massive pills every day that gave you these side effects that didn't allow you to live your life in a harmonious way was also not the way. And your partner, even the closest person to you, was scared and influencing you also, who wanted you to take medicine, which I totally understand. I'm just curious if you can elaborate a bit on what that deep knowing in you felt like. And maybe what you would say to another person to help them identify that voice inside themselves too, because I think it's very hard to listen to that voice often when people who are experts or who are somehow senior to you or who have a great influence on you are telling you something, yet your body and your intuition is telling you something else.
I mean, it's so individual, no? It's a very individual path, and I think me as a person, I've always been a little bit against the norm, against the system, against this, not against, but trying to sneak my way around it, because I don't just believe what the masses tell me to believe, and that's just a thing of mine. It doesn't mean that everyone is like this. It's funny because I'm writing a book and I'm in this chapter breaking the script, and it's my favorite chapter because that's what I love to do. I love to break the script. And I think in this moment, it was just, I knew it's true somehow. I don't know, I tried the way. It's not that I from the beginning said I don't want this, even though I'm not a huge fan of pharmaceutical drugs. Like it's nothing that I intuitively like. I'm coming from a village. My grandma always gave me onion juice when I had coughing, you know, like I am just used to different things, and but it was very strong screaming of my body, stop this now, stop this now. And I think especially also the silent meditation retreat for 10 days, being in this space with only myself, without having any voices screaming at me, I should do this, in the end helped me. And now I can only say, like, I told myself, I go with the flow and see where it leads. If I would have realized, okay, every half a year I have another flush, another wave, I might have rethought this whole, but I didn't have to, because I found my way and my path in a way that didn't lead up to new waves. Doctors always said, you know, like maybe try plant-based dietary, because a lot of things that give inflammation, it's in milk and meat. So I started with this. Of course, they also said autoimmune diseases are usually stress manufactured, and I am a stress-seeking person. So also there I was like, I have to listen to my body, and I have to stop when my body tells me. And I have a little signal actually going on also until now. It's always my right side. I don't know what's happening with my right side, but as soon as I start getting a little tickling in my right hand arm, I know it's too much. And it's like the red light, and I stop immediately, no matter what it is. If it's a friend's, I don't know, I have to do a favor for a friend, if it's a big important job, any client, whatever, stop, ciao, no. And with this, I know now my body, my little tickling, it's a little bit too much. Lisa, calm down. And this is kind of how I balance this. And
So it's a matter of having this intuitive discussion with your body and listening to those signals and being in touch with what it's telling you so that you can adjust the stress levels.
Yeah, and also in the same time with the diagnosis, I started anyways going into more healing practices, especially from South America, and I was part of a lot of retreats and healing therapies that made me think differently. So it all came luckily at the same time somehow. Yeah.
So before we get into your kind of pivot point, I would say the pivot point is the point when it sounds like you found this silent meditation retreat and you made this autonomous decision to take your own path. I'm curious to know a bit more about what your life, and you've gestured at it, right? What your life looked like before your diagnosis. Because we have the kind of, you referenced it, you said, you always had this tendency to push over your boundaries, you're a stress-seeking person. When you think back to that, Lisa, what was her life like? And what stands out when you think back to her?
Well, I think it stands out that for me, the well-being of others is always more important than my own well-being. And it translates to friends' favors, it translates to my social startup I founded because it was about saving the world and creating impact, positive impact. So I thought always this is much more important than my own well-being. And I think this switch has happened. I can only be of service to the world if my own well-being is at highest. Because if it's not, I end up in hospital. If I prioritize my well-being, I can actually be in service much longer and in a more sustainable way. So I think back then I didn't have this mindset so much. Everything else was more important than myself. Yeah, and I had to slowly, gradually learn, no, yourself.
Sounds like it was also a big rude awakening as well.
It was honestly, like I couldn't say it in the moment I got diagnosed because I also was a little bit like, ooh. But I must say, retrospectively, I can say it was a gift.
Yeah.
And I say it with care because not everyone can say it. And I'm in a very privileged position to say it. But it was really a wake-up call to live my life in a much more connected way.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful. Will be grateful for this diagnosis because it helped me to make a switch in my life. Kind of. It was like,
beautiful.
Yeah.
So moving from this moment of diagnosis, there's the way that I am kind of seeing it in my mind, there's this before the moment where you're diagnosed and then this period of in between where you're figuring out how to approach this. Doctors are telling you one thing, you're trying different things, and then you shift and you listen to your own internal compass of how you should move forward. And I'd love to dig into this process. And it sounds like it was a matter of trying different holistic modalities. Could you share a bit about this time? Kind of shifting out of this way of living where you're focusing a lot on supporting other people, helping other people. Now you're moving into this moment of trying out a 10-day meditation retreat, integrating more holistic ways of living. What did this exploration process look like?
I think I realized that, yes, I am a very purpose-driven person, but when we started this project, it was very creative and we created this fast-paced startup, but it became a huge organization. So my initial way of working was from creative into management, bureaucracy, administration, having 13 employees to take care of. And I think I didn't realize, I always thought, okay, but it's for the purpose, Lisa, it's for the purpose. And I didn't understand that, hey, I don't have to be a person that likes administration, that likes bureaucracy, also for the good cause. I am a creative person and it was lacking in my life. And I think this whole after diagnosis made me find back to my own purpose, which is my own very purpose, but it should come before the organization or project purpose. And this is, I need intuitively creative expression. And when I don't have it, I get stressed. So sometimes maybe it's not even about the workload, but about the type of work. And I completely went out of all those roles and decided to be a chef, a graphic designer, and a DJ at this point, like super random. Like none of those like very low profile, you know, like I used to be a founder and talked at conferences and then was like, no, ciao. I'm a DJ, I'm a chef and a graphic designer from now on. And I was super scared of all this because I didn't have sufficient funds to fund my life at this time, but it was so much fun. And I really found back to myself and it was like, okay, I am not a CEO because it's just not the task that I like. I can bring a project that it needs one, but then I kind of have to step out because it's just not my jam.
Well, it sounds like you were really honest with yourself about the types of things that you like to actually do.
Yes.
And you realigned how to spend your time and energy with the types of things that actually nourish you and fit into a more sustainable way of being.
At this time, actually, they formed a thesis in my head. The autoimmune system sicknesses appear when you're in a resistance. And this for me was like, okay, imagine, like even though I believe in the purpose, but my whole being is against managing things right now. So I do it, but my internal is kind of working against it, which creates so much tension that it's maybe not even feelable in the body, but internally so strong that it has to break out at one point. So I really had to understand, okay, what is creating tension in my body and how can I actually come in alignment with this? So I feel somehow a lot of humans, again, I'm very privileged, I'm having a really good life that I can say those things and make specific choices that maybe not everyone can, but I think a lot of people live against their true internal intention, and that's why they get sick. And that's why I'm also sitting here, because I want to inspire that, hey, we can maybe find different ways of working or living that are a little bit more for our health instead of against it.
Yeah, and listening to those internal signs that something is out of alignment and trying to really attune to what is out of alignment. How can I make changes? And it sounds like your sign got so loud that you had to listen to it.
Yeah.
You've shared with me that there was quite a bit of research, I suppose, that you were doing to understand this condition and how to address it. I want to go back to this point of when you went to the first Vipassana. Like, was this first Vipassana really like the door opener? Or were there other things? I think you mentioned once that you found Joe Dispenza book, for example, and this was like a pivotal moment. Like, what did this process look like in being like, okay, I know it's not going to be this 2 huge pills. What else could it be? And what did your exploration process look like? And what did you find?
Oh my God, it was horrible. I was in a rabbit hole somehow. Because I was still in the phase where I was not yet convinced that I can go without. But I was also convinced that it's like without drugs.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. So I was in a very insecure moment and I had all those voices, you have to take medicine. And my own voice, no. And I was like, I have to tell them something, what I can do instead. And my family and my friends didn't accept meditating as a thing. I Googled as much as I could. I even tried to get to new doctors, like, because people were like, yeah, okay, go with this way of non-taking drugs, but let a doctor once in a while check it out. And I tried so many neurologists and not one person I could have an honest communication on how I feel and how we can find a way that maybe combines school medicine with holistic approaches. No, it does just not work with MS. They said MS is not like this. You have to take the pills. I don't know. Somebody told me about a snake in South America and she knows a healer, but never got to this one. I found out that actually marijuana is a plant very much being used in MS treatment. So I even tried to get into a study in the Charité in Berlin, but they didn't take me. But I smoke a lot of marijuana, so I think it's actually my own little, I call it my MM therapy, meditation, marijuana.
Nice.
And I just decided what fits to me, honestly. Like, there was in the end nobody who guided me or helped me or took my hand. I just said, that's my thing now. And I stopped going to doctors in general. I think after 4 years, I wanted to make another scan. And girl, I went to this and they found hepatitis C in my body. Hepatitis C. And I was like, and I had to go 1,000 million other doctors just to then find out it was false. So I don't know, I have a thing of when going to the doctors, it's like, and in the end, it's not as bad. So the last wave, it came almost a year ago. Like, it was not a real wave. It was again my right side showing me slow down. And I told a friend of mine, she said, I know this girl in Chile and she does electromagnetic resonance. You should talk to her, even if she's far away. And we had this Skype call, it was over video. And she it was not even the real session, it was like the intro session. And she guided me also in a very deep meditation where she also unlocked something. Like, I had to go through colors and textures and shapes, and it brought me to a moment in my athlete career where I completely broke down after a training, and my trainer saying, you have to go more. And I was already puking, and I was like, this girl, like, stop going over your boundaries, even though it was taught to you in the very early beginning. And I think I'm very protected by this beautiful universe that in the right moments I get the right input somehow. Like, it's nothing that I look for sure internally, but it just gets sent to me somehow. I don't know. It's magical, like life itself, I guess.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's that's why sometimes I don't take this role of trying to inspire or sharing my story too much, because it's so individual, and probably there's a lot of people who are not in such a good place with MS, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a very inspiring story. It shows that there are other paths, even if everybody says that there aren't. Going back to the moment you found this 10-day yoga retreat, Vipassana, what was this like, and how did it alter your course? You say meditation is kind of a core holistic modality you use. What was this door? What did this door opening look and feel like?
It was a new revelation, because I thought I go to this retreat not talking. I didn't know it's about meditation. Like, I don't read things before I do. So I arrived there and I was a little naive, like usually in my life, arriving somewhere I have no clue where I am and why I'm there. But I think again it was the magic of the world opening this door for me, and I have never. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, I guess. But the reward of being in silence and in presence and only feeling my body became a thing in my life ever since. Like, I never drop. Of course, I drop it here and there, like, so that I meditate every day. But it's become one of the most important pillars. A yearly retreat I need to do just to reset myself and get out of all this garbage in my head, my worries, my anxieties, my stress. Just reconnect to the core of it. Yeah. So,
and how do you feel that this connects to your MS and how you manage it?
I think it connects in this way that, that I'm connected to myself. So that I'm not creating this inner resistance, because I actually listen to myself and I actually go with what I feel in this moment. And the more I meditate, the more I'm connected to my intuition. So the easier it gets to navigate through my life and not stress with external changes. So I think before also that, like, every little change stressed me much more. Now it can fall a coconut next to me and I wouldn't be so stressed like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? I think it really helps me to not be stressed in the end. And also this mindset work of, I'm not the disease, I don't have it. Like, sometimes I'm not so 100% sure with this one. Like, sometimes I want to tell myself, no, I don't have it. Because maybe I don't have it anymore. But I don't know also, because I don't do the scans anymore. But it's like sometimes I want to believe I don't have it anymore. And then I said, yeah, but I have it, but all under control. I don't know. You know, it's... I don't know yet if this is magical. I don't know if I still have it. People say it's irreversible, but I believe still. that it's possible.
It's so interesting because it's this question of, are you meant to believe what other people are telling you about your body, or are you meant to believe what you can really deeply feel is true for you?
I did once scans in another hospital, like 3-4 years later, and they said it's less.
Okay.
But they said it's only because it's another machine and not as good as in the Charité.
Okay.
But this moment was like, I don't believe you. I believe myself.
Yeah,
But
this
ever,
little
I never,
magical
ever, yeah.
whisper that maybe something isn't as it seems.
But right now, it's been 4 years I haven't been to any doctor. And it's, I want to knock on wood. Yeah. Yeah.
So, bringing us to today, I'm curious if you can share a bit about your own holistic mind, body, and spirit practices with yourself.
Like, so my morning rituals, for example, or like my daily rituals?
Daily
or...
rituals. How do you, what is it? Yeah, your daily rituals.
So I have the ideal and I have the reality, which sometimes match, but not always. I have to be very honest with this.
Can resonate.
But I do need a lot of time in the morning. I think I once started opening my emails 3 hours before I woke up. Like, I need those 3 hours just for myself, and it's kind of sacred. Of course, in high intensity work phases, it's fine to skip, and skipping it is also part of the balance somehow. But it always starts waking up and a few seconds sensing the body before my wild mind starts. Then I have a glass of water with lemon. Then I meditate, usually 30 minutes, not the 1 hour suggested. Then I do Pilates for 30 minutes. And I do morning journaling for, I don't know how long, with my second coffee, I guess. And I need a nice breakfast. Like, these are almost the non-negotiables in my morning. And it takes a lot of time, but I'm super happy to wake up early and go to bed early in order to have this time. And I think that's about it. I mean, I eat healthy. I try to eat healthy, but because I have done everything in the morning, the rest of my day I can do whatever I want, which I love. Like, I like to have a tick and then I can do whatever I want. Which is also sometimes excess, which is also parties, which is also smoking, which I shouldn't do, you know? Like, but in the end, for me, it's always yin-yang, it's always both. Like, I'm not a nun and I'm not a punk. Like, I'm somewhere in between, and it really depends on my day also, I would say. And, yeah.
Beautiful. I think there's something definitely to be said for balance, and also being realistic with yourself and creating a routine with yourself that feels nourishing and not constricting and not punishing. And it sounds like a result of this intimate relationship you've created with yourself by nature of needing to listen to these cues that I'd imagine are quite subtle until you learn how to listen to them very carefully. What advice you would give to yourself back when you first received your diagnosis?
Good question. I must say, like, I have this je ne regrette rien, like, I never regret things mentality. So I think the way I dealt with it, I wouldn't change it, to be honest. Like, I think it was the process I needed, with all the pros and cons of what it entailed. And the good thing is that I wasn't worried at the moment. Like, I was not freaking out, luckily. I don't know why, honestly. I think because everyone else was freaking out, so I had to be the calm one in this aspect. Trust. I think trust is what could be the lesson, or that I would share anyone, anytime. Trust. Because worrying doesn't bring you nothing in the end. It just makes you more stressed. And okay, if you end up in the wheelchair, then you end up. You know, like, it's this acceptance of what is instead of trying to push away what is, kind of. So, trust.
People might describe your case as a miracle. How do you feel about that word? Like, how do you feel about that, the branding of your story as such?
Interesting branding, I must say. I love miracles. I think the whole life is a miracle. Like that I sit here with you and this is a miracle. That we breathe is a miracle. That water exists is a miracle. So why not my story a miracle? I can totally sign. I must say I'm very lucky until now, but I'm also not arrogant thinking it will stay like this. Like I am aware that it can change and that I then have to deal with it, but I try not to worry about it because it's not happening just right now. My mother is actually working with a lot of MS patients with her horses. They cannot walk anymore. And through sitting on the horses, they learn, the muscles learn again how to walk, and they can quickly walk after getting down from the horse. So it's very near somehow, this disease with my mom. I don't know why I got there, but yeah, it's a miracle. I could brand it as a miracle, but I'm grateful miracle, I would say. Yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense in that you're practicing non-attachment so actively throughout your process of living. And it sounds like a combination of self-devotion to be able to listen very closely to when your body is telling you something so that you can react and adjust. It sounds like you've gotten into this understanding of how to listen, react, adjust, integrate in a way where you can sustainably live in a way where this chronic degenerative autoimmune condition that you were diagnosed with 7 years ago, 8 years ago, doesn't actually need to define the way that you live your life.
Exactly.
Which I think is I think it's sad that that radical act of fiercely listening to your own intuition in a way to understand what your body needs instead of taking on kind of fear-mongering advice of what you do in this situation is, it's a radical act, but I think it's also such a hopeful story. And it is, I think, the big miracle in it is also the fact that you were bold enough to listen to your own intuition in that. And I think that in itself can be very inspiring for others who maybe have a similar voice inside their heads or they're experiencing something similar and maybe they don't feel the confidence to listen.
It's actually very beautiful that you said, because I'm a strong-minded person. Like I have my things, like, but since I'm born like this somehow. In my genes, like, and there's people who are not like this. And I think, this is what you said. Hopefully, my story inspires. If there's a little tiny seed of doubt, to not put it under the carpet, to listen to it. And the doctors won't tell you, listen to it. They will say, put it under the ground.
Yeah.
And maybe listening to the story helps you. Okay, but you can also call me if you want. Everyone can call me.
I wanted to ask you if you have any resource recommendations, anything that's helped you on your own journey that you would recommend to others.
I must say none of it is MS related. Like none of it. Like I went a little bit into this, but it's only fearful information that I went quite fast away from it. I think all the spiritual awakening books that a lot of people have on their list, Eckhart Tolle, Joe Dispenza, these were books that kind of helped me. The Four Agreements, An Untethered Soul, just all those self-help books in the end that help you for spiritual awakening. I don't know I don't want to be in the spiritual bookshelf place, but I am, I guess. I think they helped me opening my mind and understanding that the mind is much more powerful than anything, in combination with the meditation together, I would say. But specific than that, I didn't find nothing. So I hope Terra Collective can bring this knowledge together, because there's just nothing out there somehow where you can find. It's a loop, it's a rabbit hole. Like, you start digging and getting into so many different worlds. I was not interested in this anymore. I was happy with meditation and marijuana, I must say. I was like, okay, take it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you went down this spiritual, we can call it spiritual, I guess it is a spiritual path of finding this connection between your mind and your body, and how these two entities, which aren't, which are actually one entity, work together, and how you can come into alignment across these.
This is probably this. It's like understanding we are one.
Yeah.
And it's not only my body, it's not only my mind. We have to find together. Like, I cannot train only my body if I forget to train my mind, and vice versa, Like, and this was the big understanding, I feel. Yeah.
And my final question for you. If you had one wish for how society would approach healing, what would it be?
Oh my God. I would love that everyone starts by asking questions unrelated to the symptoms only. Like, I would love that you go to the doctor and he doesn't prescribe you a pill within 10 minutes, but rather understands how you live your life and where are the little things where you might be able to adjust your life so that you are living a healthier life. I mean, okay, this could open a whole new chapter. The food in the hospital. Like, there's so many things going wrong in this society that... And of course, it's the law. Like, I don't want to get political now, but there's reasons why it is certain ways. And there's reasons why the holistic approach is not being the one being pushed. And that's very sad. So it's actually a wish that everyone understands this body-mind connection a little bit better and doesn't just take all the time pills. Yeah.
I share that wish. I think it's why we are here as well, a big part of it. That was everything I had planned to ask you. Do you have any other thoughts or things that you have in your mind that you want to share before we close?
Not right now, I must say. There's nothing coming. Just that I feel a little shy of sharing. Now everyone will know my secret.
They'll know what a powerful being you are. In addition to experienced designer, you're going to also be like spiritual...
MS survivor.
No, spiritual guru, mind, body, connection queen.
Okay, I'll take that. That's my caption.
Well, thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing your story. I think it's such a powerful story. Like I've said, I think it's also really, really inspiring one that hopefully can inspire a lot of hope with people who have been given diagnoses that make them feel helpless, where maybe there might be, like you said, an opportunity to go down that seed of doubt, listen to that internal voice, try something else that might facilitate this mind, body, spirit connection in a way that could relieve some symptoms that doctors say are past the point of relief. So I think it's beautiful that you were able to share this, and I appreciate it. And I know that the people listening will too. So thank you.
Thank you.
And with that is a wrap.
Perfect.
Thanks for tuning in to The Core of It. I hope the conversation was useful and interesting. For more information about Terra Collective and the practitioners highlighted on The Core of It, or to join the collective as either a practitioner or seeker, go to our website at www.terra-collective.co.